David.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't believe it. We're here again in person. It feels like such a long time. And it's an exciting day because you've got new kit from Roland, right?
Yes, yes. I got these little mini bits right here. The
Right.
AIRA Compact series.
Okay, so these are desktop synths and drum machines and vocal processors. Wow,
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So this is a new release for Superbooth, and we're going to go through them now with David. So David, let's have a look then.
Yeah.
Show us.
Yeah, okay, so I thought we'd start with this one, the T8.
Yep.
So this is kind of like a mini TR drum machine. It has a combination of 909, 808, and 606.
Yep.
And it's also got a TB in it, so it's kind of like a little drum machine slash bass line.
Right,
synth,
little sort of
basically.
basic groove box. Right, okay.
We can start with a little kick here. So this is the 909 kick, very familiar sound, obviously. We can tweak it a little bit. We got the decay here, and we have the tuning, the familiar sort of 909 parameters.
Yep.
And then we can just start putting other stuff on top. We have a clap. Whoops, I just real-time recorded it. There we go.
And it was in time.
Yeah, that was just a fluke. You can real-time record as well by literally just pressing the buttons. So I can just go closed hi-hat. Maybe add some. So this is actually the 606 hi-hat. So now we have 606 hi-hat, 808 clap, 909 kick. Some toms maybe. And yeah, we got our basic.
That sounds like a 606 tom as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how quickly you can make a little basic beat. But then we have effects on board as well. So we have delay and reverb units. So if I just turn off the reverb, I've assigned it mainly, I think, to the tom and the clap here.
So you can also assign.
Yeah, you can set the send levels of each sound, including the bass as well. And you also, what's really fun with the TR section is that you got the little step loop feature. If you're familiar with that, I don't know.
I think,
So if you just go into step loop, we can just basically loop a single step in the entire pattern. So if I just go on here, this step has a clap and kick, for instance. So I can just press that.
Right.
Yeah, but then I can hold multiple steps at the same time as well. So I can just go like. And it creates
it's like a live film mode. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
So is it 1 bar or 2 bar patterns? 16 steps?
You can have up to 2 bars.
Right.
And the bass line and the kick, the bass line and the drums are separate. So,
okay, right.
Yeah. So right now we have a 16 step drum pattern, and then we can just start making a bass line on top of this. So you can step sequence the bass by just pressing the notes you want. So like I can do something like this. But you can also record it in keyboard mode. So now this turns into a little keyboard.
Right.
And then we can just keep adding.
More step,
yeah, we can just keep adding steps and notes. This is always fun because I never know how it's going to end up, so it's always a little bit risky. But yeah, and then we can press the accent button and the slide button, so we can just add those in real time as well. So I'm just going to randomly press the accent button and the slide button.
So very 303 like.
Yeah. And then I think there's that one. I wanted that one. Lower note. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so now we have a simple bass line going. Now we can also go into the separate steps of the bass line and just adjust what notes we want. So if I just go into the steps here,
right, I
can just hold any step and it will show the note in the window.
So you've got a bit of editing after the fact as well.
So exactly. So I can just change one. Maybe I'll change the last one to a really high notable, something like that. But like I said, we have individual lengths for the drums and for the bass. So I can just go to last step on the bass here, and I can just change that to be, I like 15 steps, so it's almost a bar, but it's still.
So you get a kind of continually changing, yeah.
So now it's 15 steps.
I noticed you were tweaking. You've got some parameters there that you can
Yeah,
tweak
exactly.
as
So you got the most of the classic TB parameters. So you got a cutoff here, you got the resonance, and the envelope modulation, and also decay, and even the pitch one.
well. Are they automatable or are they just live?
No, this is actually, no, they're
Just
not
like that,
automatable, yeah. So just for real time.
And so what's the technology? Is it kind of, I forget, there are so many different flavours of
Yeah.
So you've got Zencore, you've got ACB, you've got, what was the other one?
Yeah, so these are actually ACB based. Yeah,
okay.
so
So like the AIRA,
the
traditional
original AIRA series.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And so this is very much like the TB-03, the little boutique.
Gotcha.
So very similar sound there. And yeah. I've also assigned the delay exclusively to the TB. So when I turn up the delay master, you get delay on the TB there.
Right, are those effects editable or are they fixed sort of tempo matched?
No, you can change the delay time and the reverb time really easily. If I just hold the shift button here, I can change the reverb time. So
Nice to see it near as long as it goes.
yeah, so now we have a super long reverb, short one, in between. Yeah, and same thing with the delay, of course.
Is this battery powered by? I mean, we're powering these obviously because we're demoing them, but I just see a charge there.
Yeah. So actually, they have built-in batteries. So yeah, internal batteries that are rechargeable, and it's USB-C. So you just plug it in and recharge.
Oh, good to see USB-C. No more micro, please.
Yeah,
enough of micros.
And-
so
and
we've got
also- yeah.
sync in and out, stereo in, stereo out, and then the MIDI on mini jacks, which you've got connected up with these white cables as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, mini jack MIDI. And what's really interesting about the external input, because obviously now these are daisy chained, well, not obviously maybe,
Yeah.
but they're daisy chained. So, it's going from this one into that one and so on. And what's cool about it, that's actually the audio is routed in such a way that the inputs go directly out. And what that means is basically you get individual control.
So there's no the volume of the next one doesn't affect the volume of the previous
exactly.
one. Right. Okay, that's
so,
a nice touch.
Yeah, so you can see that later when we start adding other devices.
Well, let's add. Is there more that we need to see? This feels like sort of fairly self-explanatory. So we've got TR style drum with 4 voices, well, more than 4 voices. How many is there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voices, and
6 drum sounds, and then the bass on top of that.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
So what's next?
So I thought we'd go to the J6, and this is actually this is a really funny little machine because I think it has such a unique workflow. It's basically and the synth itself is again it's ACB technology, and it's actually based on the Juno 60.
Right.
So very similar to the plug out, if you know our plugin that you can find on Roland Cloud. Yes, so it's based on that sound engine basically, and we can just have a listen. And the concept of it is that it's a kind of programmable arpeggiator and a sort of chord generator.
Right. Okay.
So you have different chord maps and different arpeggios you can choose from, and then you can also program in chord changes as well.
Right.
So if we listen to one of the presets here, for instance, if I just press play, it's going to play through this sequence of different chord changes. So if I just press play here, you can see that's chord number 1.
And this is all internal effects,
Yeah, this is all coming from...
Sounds like there's some stereo Juno chorus going on.
Yeah,
there as well.
exactly. Like I said, it's based on the Juno 60, so... And we got a little delay and reverb control there. Envelope knob as well. So yeah, it's just a very special workflow, I think.
We've got quite basic controls of the actual synth engine.
Yes.
Is the sort of underlying voice essentially the same, or are there different presets and sounds that you?
No, there are 64 different preset sounds that you can choose from, and yeah, we can hear a few of them if I just change the pattern, because actually a pattern saves also the patch settings as well,
right?
Like even the filter and the envelope and stuff like that. So we can play back just another one. It's just a really nice, soothing.
Just what we need.
Yeah.
Nice reverb again. So you've got, So there's majoring on the effects. So the kind of dedicated groove boxes, but each with their own flavour. And these will just sync up together. Is that how you got? Have you got them synced via MIDI or?
Yeah, so they're synchronized via the mini jack MIDI here.
Right, so just coming out of there and into there, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So if I just hit play, I'm just gonna. Actually, I'm going to choose an empty pattern because I want to try to record something. Right. So you can record different chord sequences with the built-in arpeggio, but you can also use it kind of like just a normal sequencer as well if you want to do that. But I still want to use the chords. So here I have a little chord map, and I can record this in real time. Yeah, on top of the T8. So. Yeah, so now this is actually already recording, so I can just start playing in chords here. And it's actually set to 2 bars. And then we can just add.
So are the chords and the arpeggio, because that was a chord,
yeah.
What denotes the rhythm? Because that was a real-time record. Is there how are they linked?
Yeah, so now I was just recording the rhythm in real time, but you can also choose an arpeggio, and which is basically, or we call it style here. It's just different styles, so that's different rhythms. So if I just turn everything off, then now we just have the basic sound here. And then we can, we turn the arpeggiator or the style on. So now we have
a simple kind of one octave. Yeah, right.
And then we can just hold multiple notes. And then we get a little.
So then each chord would be on a step. So this is the chord that you have on step 1, and then you would change that. So the chord steps, you record a chord in each one, and then you apply the arpeggiator to each of those steps.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So they're separate.
Yeah, and you can also input chords manually, so you don't have to use the chord button. Obviously, you could just go and play them in like this.
Yeah.
Or you can use the chord. If you don't know chords and stuff, you can just choose from. There's 100 different sort of chord maps.
Right.
With different chords on each key.
Right.
So if I go, I can choose a chord here, and okay. So I was on 68. I'll go to number 1, and we'll turn the arpeggiator off for now. Now we just have like a sort of major.
With some interesting inversions going. Are they editable or are they all fixed?
They're all fixed, but we have 100 to choose from, and they're completely different from each other. There's major, there's minor. Right. Here's some chords that are a bit more colored and less sort of straight. Or we can go, I think this one is a minor.
How many voice polyphony is it?
It's 4 voices.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's one way of. I was basically setting all of the steps just now. I was setting them to be 1/16 each.
Oh, right, okay.
So then, in that sense, you can actually use it as a traditional sequencer.
So you can do 16s. How long can you make each step?
So each step can be up to 2 bars, or it could be down to 1/16.
Right. Okay.
And also you can change the arpeggio style for each step. So So you can come up with quite interesting stuff. Like here, for instance, I have something that changes on the 8th one. So if we just play this one back, now you can see we're going through the chords. But then on number 8. So it's a really interesting and unique way of working, and we can just go, if I want to edit something, I can just go to a step here, and then I can just say, actually, on step number 1, I want that chord, and on step number 2, I want, and now it's going to be a bit different. So we play that from the start.
Jazz.
Oh yeah, I changed to the major earlier. That's why we have a completely different chord number.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a kind of arpeggiator chord machine, full voice. Yeah, and you can play all of these things via external MIDI as well, because you've got MIDI I/O. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they all got MIDI inputs and outputs, and yeah, you can connect a keyboard to them. And
What else do we get over USB? Do we get any audio functionality over USB?
Yes, we do have a built-in audio interface as well.
And does that run as an input and an output? So do we get 4 in and 2 out, if you see what I mean? Because you have the voices and also the external input.
So actually no. So it just comes in as a one stereo basically.
Okay, so it's 2 in, 2 out audio interface,
yeah.
right? Okay. Gotcha.
But they're class compliant though, so they're basically plug and play.
No drivers.
Yeah. And still compatible with AIRA Link if you have an MX1 mixer.
Would you? Yeah. Well, while I'm on the subject, can we have an MX2, please?
Yeah, we do want that. We all do.
So where are we now? So these two things are synced up together. You got going to have some chords in here, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we still have this pattern I made here, and I'll just put in some new chords here again. So we'll just go. And maybe I can change the length as well. So like now this one is 2 bars, so I'll just go. Maybe I'll just set it to be something weird, like 19 steps.
Okay.
So we get that little slightly polymetric feeling again. But actually, yeah, maybe we'll skip the chords. Maybe I'll just jump to another pattern and we can create a little melody instead.
Oh, okay.
So
because you can record single notes, obviously. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one way to do it. So I'll just go into real-time record again, and I can just play some little notes here. I just like to randomly add little notes and see what happens. And again, I do like to change the length just to make it a bit more unpredictable. So I'll set it to, let's say 17.
So the overall thing, if it's 17, we've got 16, so it will be like 16 times 8 bars, whatever that is. A very long pattern
exactly.
to repeat.
But something I also actually really like to do is to kind of flip it around. So obviously this is meant to be drums and bass, and this is meant to be the top stuff. Yeah. So chords and arpeggios and stuff like that. But I actually like to switch it around as well. So if I go to my pattern bank here, we can just go, I actually have a pre-prepared little bass line. So if you go here instead. So now we have a bass line there, and then we can use this for the melody. Just to get a slight, a little variation. So I'll delete the bass sequence here. So we'll just go pattern clear, and I'll clear just the instrument track. Yeah. So that's a single track. So now we have just the drums and this bass.
Right, so the bass is now happening over there.
Yeah. And then we can just use that keyboard mode again. But this time I want to, use a higher octave. So we have 2 bars going, and we can just add some random notes here. Maybe some lower ones. And we can add accents again and slides just in real time.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. And
so
we can.
There's not real time. It's real time record, but it snaps to the actual steps. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it just quantizes immediately, and then I can. Yeah, let's just set it to something uneven again. So I don't know, 29 steps. Play with this one over here as well. something. This is a way I really like to make something nice, because like if you have a bass line that just keeps changing the notes, then you can have a melody that still fits those different chords, and so that's like the reverse way of how it's intended, but it's still interesting, I think.
And you can control these via external MIDI? Can you control the actual synth parameters as well via MIDI, or is it?
It doesn't take CC currently, actually,
okay.
but it does. They do take PC, so like program change. So if you want to like switch patterns via MIDI, you can do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the last one is the E4.
Yes.
So this looks. I mean, you've got loads of vocal processing, the VT stuff. Is this kind of AIRA vocal processing?
Yeah, exactly. So this is like a mini VT basically, but it still has something a little special because it also has a built-in looper.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So and it's still got the classic VT stuff like robot and vocoder and harmony and stuff like that. So should we try it out?
So we've got a mic in on this on a 1/4-inch jack.
Yes.
There seems to be plenty of gain because you've got hardly anything on there, and this is dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. So even if I, it's still already peaking. So yeah, plenty of gain there.
So what does it do then? What have we got?
Yeah, so we got the main little switches here. So we got auto pitch, harmony, and vocoder, and these can also be used at the same time. All of these, if you want. And then we got the main sliders. We got the, kind of like on the VT series, if you're familiar with those. We got the pitch here, so that's an octave down or an octave up.
And the formant to change your character.
And some after effects like reverb and delay. So that's those are the basic kind of voice tonality changes. And then we got the effects here, so auto pitch. And this is now set to C minor, because like I'm playing here. This is in C minor. So I can kind of sing something on top of this. So if we set auto pitch, now we got C minor scale. And we can also add harmony on top of that. So maybe I'll
I can imagine this. I can see this one being a bit of a big hit. It's like real-time vocal processing. It's really handy for vocalists. A lot of vocalists like to process their stuff in real time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really cool also is that you can actually connect MIDI to it. So if for instance, I'll just sing something a little simple here. So with and without harmony, and then we can try it with a keyboard as well.
Okay.
So if I go.
Wherever you go, wherever I go, whatever you do, I wanna come with you.
And then we can add harmonies to it.
Wherever high or low, whatever you do, I wanna come with you.
Nice. It's sort of like ambient dub machine at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but what's really cool is you can also you can take a keyboard, which is why I have my little JDXI here. And you can actually just control it via MIDI, and that can be done via USB MIDI as well. But
so real-time harmonization, vocoding, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's basically so the harmony switch becomes just a polyphony switch. So if you want it monophonic or polyphonic. So right now, it's monophonic. So. So if we do the same thing again.
Wherever you go, I wanna come with you.
Nice.
And then we can, just if we turn harmony on, that just basically becomes.
So it harmonizes from the notes that you're sending it via MIDI.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't harmonize, but it becomes polyphonic. So
okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
around the
I wanna come with you.
That kind of thing, basically.
Oh right, handy.
Yeah. Okay, so we also have the vocoders. I mean, this is already kind of acting obviously like a vocoder, but if you want that classic vocoders or robot sound, then you can just hit the vocoder button here.
And then you have the vocoder sound, but now it's actually following my pitch, which you can do if you want. But you can also turn on the robot switch, and then you get that really classic electro style.
Drone. So we've also got this rather large knob in the middle, the scatter. So is that scatter from AIRA sort of
Yes,
territory?
exactly. So if you're familiar with the scatter effect since before, it's basically, it's a tempo based effect, and it basically just causes
Chops
various little chops and glitches and stuff like that.
How does it work then?
So I can use it on the vocoder.
This kind of
Right,
thing.
okay.
But it's also tempo based, so if I use the looper, I can do more rhythmical
Oh, because we haven't
stuff.
looked at that as well. So we've got a looper in here.
Yeah.
How long does it record for?
So it goes up to about 24 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like phrase loop, a single phrase.
Yeah.
And can you store those phrases, or is it just?
No, this is
visceral-
just temporary.
Ephemeral.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, I think sometimes that's as it should be. You know?
Yeah, just be in the moment.
Okay. So with this guy, that was with the mic. Can you process external USB audio signals through the vocal processing as
Yeah,
well?
actually you can. So when you're using the built-in USB audio interface, you can hook it up and just send like a WAV file to it or something and just process through all
Right,
of the
so
vocal
so
effects.
if you had like a laptop setup and some vocals were running live or running back on playback, you could use that to process them in real time.
absolutely.
Oh, that's neat as
Yeah.
well. So these guys, if you're watching now, then this will be the Super Booth version of the release, and they are available now. And it looks like, I mean, they do look like they're just dying to be expanded to more things, I must admit, because.
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay, so David's now going to play us out with a little bit more demonstration of what these guys can do. Thank you so much for coming in, David. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to be
have
here.
someone in the studio.
Yeah.
That's it for this time. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
This is all I need. 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 This is all